Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris here, and welcome to another episode of In Pursuit of a Parlay. We are coming off a 7-game parlay last night W. Bittersweet on my end for sure because the featured game, the underdog moneyline pick, was the Brooklyn Nets over my Philadelphia 76ers. We all know how that one ended, and it was ugly, but at the end of the day, it's about the parlay, right? We're trying to make the money, and it presented a unique opportunity. So we also have a couple of those on the schedule for today. As I've been saying every week, thank you guys for the support on YouTube and on the podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, please push that like button right now. That helps us out a ton. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it. If you're listening to the podcast, again, rate, review, subscribe, all of that stuff. It means the world, helps us out, helps us get to keep doing this. Thank you so much. Fun day of NBA action. Actually, some interesting college basketball games, too, we might tack on as added value at the end. But primarily, we're going to look at the NBA card. 10 games on the docket tonight. We're going to pick our favorite 8. Probably leaving out that Lakers game. We don't know if LeBron is going to be in the lineup. We don't know if THT is going to be in the lineup. There's some questions there's some questions about that Lakers team in general. They're questionable. And the Wizards are just having fun, man. They're playing with house money. It's tough to pick against the Wizards right now because they have been covering. The other game I don't love is that Jazz Spurs game. Just, the Spurs have been quiet covers over the last couple of weeks. The Jazz are playing good basketball. We got a couple of wins with them the last couple of weeks. But this one doesn't feel right. Pop against the Jazz. I'm staying away. Let's jump to our first game of the day. It's this Minnesota Timberwolves Orlando Magic game. And we've got the Timberwolves about a 69% chance to win this one outright. They are quietly one of the hottest teams in basketball right now. 6-game win streak for the 38-29 Wolves. They're in third place in the Northwest Division. They're coming up on the lead here. 4 games back, 2 behind Denver for second place, 4 behind Utah for first place. Like I said, 6 in a row, 7 of their last 8, 9 of their last 11, They're hooping. And there's some good wins in there. You got a win over a Warriors team where Steph played, Andrew Wiggins played. I think Clay sat that one out, but still a good win. Win over the Grizzlies a while back. They're playing good basketball. They should be taken seriously right now. And Anthony Edwards is day-to-day. We don't know what his status is for tonight at this point. But day-to-day, along with Jared Vanderbilt, along with Jordan McLaughlin, along with Taurean Prince. Looking at the Orlando Magic, I said it last week, they're a fun basketball team. It's going to be interesting to see what they do in the future. They're just not a very good basketball team right now. 1-2 of their last 5. There are wins over a pretty good-looking Pelicans team, though. The BI and CJ are out, and a win over that Raptors team about a week ago. Magic find themselves 17-50. 17-50. 5th place in the Southeast Division. They are 27 games behind first place Miami in the Southeast. Probably not going to make a run for this division, but they're still a fun team. That's what we've been saying. We've got about an 86% chance that the Wolves cover the spread here. They've been covering. This is one that I was thinking about. We try to pick, 1, 2, 3 against the spread every week and then just take house money for the rest. This is one of the ones I've been thinking about. Like the Wolves here, Wolves are scoring a lot of points. They're averaging 114.7 per game to the Magic's 103. They're not turning the ball over as much as they have in the past. Oh, this is where it gets tough, man. The Timberwolves 13-2 as favorites against the spread, 8-5 against the spread as favorites at home. The Magic, 27-35 is underdogs against the spread. Terrible as home dogs, 7-19 on the season. I think we just go with our gut here, and we're gonna take the Wolves to cover the 7.5 at bovadasportsbook.com, and we're gonna move on to our next game here. We're looking at the Detroit Pistons, the Boston Celtics. Yeah, not much of a contest, although the Pistons do get Cade Cunningham back over the past week. They're without a bunch of guys. We're showing about a 91% chance that the Celtics win this game outright, and quite frankly, that feels about right. And margin of error feels about right. The Pistons are, similar to the Orlando Magic in a lot of ways, only you could argue that there's better young talent on that team. Jeremy Grant probably doesn't fit, probably need to find a new home for him, but good talent on that Pistons team. 18-48 on the season. 5th place in the Central Division. They are 23.5 games back to the Magic's 27 games back. So, in that sense, doing all right. They are 3 of their last 5, 4 of their last 6 actually playing good basketball. But the Celtics team is playing really good basketball. And that's the issue here. They lose to the Bulls in their last game. DeRozan got real hot in the fourth quarter. The Chicago team needed to end their their losing streak. Pistons had their winning streak, 3-game winning streak prior to that, ended by DeMar DeRozan and the Chicago Bulls. Turning to the Boston Celtics, 40-27, second place in the Atlantic Division, 1 game behind first place Philadelphia, and same number of wins, just 2 more losses than the 76ers. Really good basketball team. Won 4 of their last 5, won 6 of their last 7. They've won, the winning streak prior to that was substantial. I believe that was an 11-game winning streak prior to that. They are quite simply one of the hottest teams in basketball right now. And that's interesting because when we looked at them at the beginning of the season, this was a team that was really underperforming. A team where they're talking, can Brown and Tatum coexist? Do we have to break them up? What is going on in Boston? Well, what's going on is, if last night is any indication, they have a really good chance to win the Atlantic Division. And a really good chance to play well and advance into the playoffs. We've got about an 80% likelihood of Detroit covering the spread here. That is, shocking is one way to put it. That scares me. And even though the spread is 14, I know that's a ton of points. I don't trust this Pistons team. With that said, 14 is a ton of points. I don't think this is the place to go against the spread. I think we take the very easy Celtics money line win here at minus 1,400, and we'll move on with our day. The parlay after 2 picks, even with 2 negatives, is up to plus 100. So we're gonna have some good money for the day. I think the 7-game parlay we hit on last night ended up being like a plus 650. So, good return. Good return after some heartbreaking losses over these past couple of weeks. If you've been listening, then you know that we're hitting 9, 10, 11 every week, including 11 that first week. That was tough. That was a tough one. And earlier this week, we got to the final game of a 12-pick parlay, and the Shanghai Sharks, of all teams, cost us the parlay. I will burn all of my Shanghai Sharks gear later on in protest to that one. But moving on to our next game of the day, the LA Clippers, the Atlanta Hawks. We've got about a 72% chance of the Hawks winning this one outright. Pardon me, of the Hawks winning this one outright. It seems weird, but this is a Clippers team that's kind of struggling. It's a Clippers team that's struggling. They're 35-33, 3rd place in the Pacific Division. They're 19 games back of first place Phoenix. That just shows how well the Phoenix Suns are playing basketball. Kawhi is he's inching his way back. And you're wondering, maybe he steps foot onto the court this season. I don't think anyone expected that. But if you're talking about playoff contention, and the Clippers certainly are at this point, maybe they get Kawhi back later, and that becomes a scary team to face in the playoffs. Turning to Atlanta, worst record, 31-34, sub 500, 12 games back of the Miami Heat in the Southeast Division. And honestly, kind of struggling a little bit. This is a real interesting one. The Hawks have won 2 of their last 5, lost against the Bucks, lost against the Pistons their last 2, wins over the Wiz, a very short-handed Bulls team, and a Boston Celtics team. They handed the Celtics one of those losses in there. This cover feels right. This cover feels real right. We've got it split down the middle right here. 50% Hawks will cover, 50% they won't. I think they're going to cover. I think this is our other spread pick of the day. I think Hawks keep it within 7, still potentially lose. But, man, that Clippers money line is staring at me right now. That plus 230 at Bovada is just staring at me right now. But we got to be disciplined. We got to stay away. Minus 110 is a good payday here, and we're gonna take it. We're gonna take Clippers to cover the 7. I feel good about that. It's gonna take our 3-pick parlay up to plus 282. Next game on the docket, the Charlotte Hornets versus the New Orleans Pelicans. And I'll tell you what, this is another one. This is another one where I think we're going to be spread. I like this game a lot. Bovada's got the Pelicans getting 2.5 points at home. We're showing about a 58% chance of New Orleans winning outright, which feels odd because, unless I'm mistaken, New Orleans is without CJ and BI tonight. I'm going to double check that because now I'm starting to question this. Maybe I missed a little bit. No, the update. Ingram and CJ are out of the lineup tonight for this Pelicans team. Check the full updated injury list. I don't need everybody. But Hayward, McDaniels, and James Bouknight probably out for the Hornets. Doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. You got LaMelo. You've got Miles Bridges. And yeah, I think this is another opportunity play here. We'll get to that in a second. Anyway, Charlotte is 32-35, second place in the Southeast Division. They're behind only the Miami Heat, 12 games back. And they've won 2 of their last 5. Look, it's an inconsistent basketball team. There's no question about that. But they've lost to some good teams. Lost to the Celtics, lost to the Nets, lost to the Bucks. Those are not embarrassing losses by any stretch in that last 5. This is what we expected the Hornets to be. The fact that they're flirting with 500 right now, I think that's a little bit of a surprise to people, quite frankly. This is a team slightly overachieving. Melo's kind of leveled out a little bit after a scorching hot start, but I think this is pretty much what we expected this team to be. New Orleans, 27-39, third place in the Southwest Division, 17.5 back of first place Memphis. They've lost their last 3, won 2 of their last 5. The losses against the Magic, the Grizz, and the Nuggets. The Magic loss scares me. Again, that's without CJ and Brandon. CJ in health and safety protocols. I don't know how this team wins missing CJ and Brandon. Those are the 2 best players on this team. By the way, is it weird to anybody else that all of a sudden, Zion is progressed to on-court activities, to weight-bearing activities, to contact activities? It's weird. Where'd it come from? It seemed all the news was bad news for this Pelicans team. You don't want to say anybody's tanking. You wonder if they would prefer to keep that pick from Portland this year and worry about that in the future. Because I've always said, I think I said it on the show a couple weeks ago, this team with Chet Holmgren is really interesting. I don't know if Paolo or Jabari Smith fit quite as well, but this team with Chet Holmgren is really interesting in the future. And it's a team I think could compete for a championship in the future if you could keep the big four of Holmgren, Zion, B.I., and C.J. together with the complementary pieces, with Devontae, with Herb Jones, who's playing really good basketball, with Jonas Valanciunas, who is playing really good basketball. It's an interesting team. I know I've said interesting quite a bit, but it's an interesting team. I don't think we can count on another 30-piece from Valanciunas tonight. He got us 30 and 15 in that last game, along with 2 blocks, 2 steals, 3 assists, 8 of 8 from the line, 11 of 20 from the field. Jonas hooping, but I don't think we can count on that every night, despite the fact that I do think he's one of the more underrated players in basketball. We're showing about a 64% chance that Charlotte's going to cover the spread here. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree with this. Yeah, we're going to sit the minus 110 spread number at Bovada versus the minus 145 money line. It's just a fairly inconsequential difference when we're talking about a parlay. So let's play it safe. That minus 145 is still a good number. 4 picks in our parlay up to plus 575. Big numbers. I think we're going to flirt with like 8-1, 9-1 when this is all done today. We'll see where it goes. I'm excited. Can we get it up to 10-1? A couple of added value college basketball locks? We'll see. Moving on to the 4th game of the day. The 4th game we're going to cover, the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Miami Heat. We're showing about a 76% chance of the Heat winning this one outright. Cavs are 38 and 27 on the season. They have righted the ship a little bit after a couple of tough weeks prior to this. 3rd place in the Central Division, 3 games behind Milwaukee, which is probably closer than Milwaukee would like it, though. Milwaukee has leapfrogged the Bulls over the past couple of weeks to retake 1st place in the Central. They're 1.5 up on the Bulls. Cavs are playing good basketball, and since Jared Allen broke his finger, Evan Mobley just absolutely is he's taken it to another level. Unbelievable numbers for him, great progression, and honestly, it makes you wonder, is this what we can expect moving forward from Mobley if he doesn't have Jared Allen in the lineup? No disrespect to Jared Allen. Jared Allen was an all-star this year. Would he have been if the all-star game wasn't in Cleveland? Probably not. But Jared Allen is a good basketball player. Nobody can take away the fact that he's an all-star. I just think he's a clunky fit with Evan Mobley, who's probably the better player for that team moving forward. But, 5 years, $100 million. After this year, 80 million more reasons to get Jared Allen in the lineup to feature Jared Allen. So, man, I don't know. This Cavs team is funny because I thought this Cavs team was one more year away. One more year of struggling. You bring in one more big-time player. Guy, now Paolo Banchero would work really well. Jabari Smith could work really well. He is, what they wanted Lauri Markkanen to be. A couple of those guards could work really well. Maybe a Shaedon Sharp's in the draft. He works really well. Jaden Ivey works really well. Jaden Ivey would be a beautiful fit next to Darius Garland. And also like kind of the type of player that the Cavs like, a guy who can play defense like Okoro, but has, sacrilegious to say it, I know, but I see Donovan Mitchell-y upside in Jaden Ivey. It seems like that's the trajectory if everything goes right. But neither here nor there. Cavs are playing great basketball. Miami Heat have won 3 of their last 5. They're 44 and 23, 1st place in the Southeast. They're 12 games up on the Charlotte Hornets, 2nd place. 12 games up on the Hawks, 2nd place. 27, as I mentioned earlier, up on the Miami Heat, up on the Orlando Magic for 1st place. The last game, tough loss to the Suns. This is they got Devin Booker back. What do you want? Devin Booker. Book comes back after missing some time, and he played great. Got 23 and got the W. We're showing about a 62% chance that the Cavs cover this -7, cover the 7.5 line. It's scary. Any game with the Cavs is scary. You kind of know what you're getting with the Heat, except for Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson has been the model of inconsistency over the past couple of weeks, which is strange because he's a guy who you could count on for 3 or 4 threes a night. Hasn't been falling. I don't feel good about the lines here. The Cavs plus 7.5 at -105 is interesting, but I think the veteran Miami Heat team is going to prove to be a little bit too much for this young upstart Cavs team. We're going to take the Heat -300. That's a fine number. 5 picks in. Our parlay is going to jump to plus 800. 8-1. 8-1 odds. 5 picks in. Forget. Are we going to get 10-1? Could we get 12-1? Could we get 15-1 by the time this thing is all said and done? Moving on to our next game. We have got the Dallas Mavericks and the Houston Rockets. This one is not going to offer us a ton value-wise, but we're going to move the line up a little bit. We're going to move this parlay. This is all this one's going to accomplish. We're showing about a 72% chance that the Dallas Mavericks win the game outright. Probably a little bit higher than that, I think, in reality. Mavs drop their last game to the New York Knicks, but won 5 in a row before that, which means they've won 5 of their last 6. They've won 7 of their last 9. They're figuring stuff out at the right time. And Luka he's Luka. Luka and Ja are the most fun players in basketball to watch right now. And I also like the fact that they're coming off not just a loss to the Knicks, but a blowout loss to the Knicks. They dropped the game by 30 to the Knicks, a Knicks team that is fighting for their playoff lives. So that ship may have sailed at this point. Moving on to the Rockets, 17-49, 5th place in the Southwest Division, 27.5 back behind first place Memphis. That feels weird. By the way, Mavs 40-26, 4.5 back. They're in second place, 4.5 back of Memphis in the Southwest. The Rockets have won 2 of their last 5. A good win over the Grizzlies. This Lakers win, whatever. Jalen Green dropped 32. They beat a underpowered Lakers team in overtime. Any win's a good win. Anytime you beat LeBron is a good win. But that Lakers team is complete and utter disaster right now. We're showing about a 57% chance that the Rockets cover this 11-point line. Bavada throwing the big numbers up on the lines today, and that it makes it challenging. I don't think the Rockets are winning back-to-back. Let's rule out Rockets money line here, which by the way just changed. Odds just improved. We're gonna take this. We're gonna call this fate because as I was looking at it, the line jumped from 11 to 10. The money line for Dallas jumped from -700 to -605 at Bavada. We're gonna take that. House money. 6 picks in. Our parlay now up to a plus 948. Love this. Absolutely love where we're at right now. And we've got 2 to go. Let's go to the New York Knicks and the Memphis Grizzlies. Our next game right here. We're showing about a 73% chance that Memphis is going to win this one outright. The Knicks, 28-38. They're 5th place in the Atlantic, 12.5 back. One of the tighter divisions from top to bottom. The Atlantic, 12.5 back of the first place 76ers. Knicks have won their last 3. I mentioned a 30-point win over the Mavericks. Also got a 16-point win over the Kings and a 13-point win over the Clippers. Lost their 7 before that. It does look like it's 7. A couple losses to the Sixers, the Heat, Nets, Thunder, Blazers. like I said, Knicks playing for their playoff lives. Julius Randle he's figured stuff out over the past 3. Dropped 26 against his hometown Mavs. In that last one, this is a national TV game. Knicks are going to be up for that. But Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies are 45-22. They're one of the stories of the season. First place in the Southwest Division, as I mentioned, 4.5 up over the Mavericks. They've won 3 of their last 5, 4 of their last 6 wins over the Pels, the Magic, the Spurs, and the Bulls. Very underhanded Bulls team. Undermanned Bulls team, not underhanded. Although I don't know. I guess I don't know. Not a lot of prestige wins in there. Losses to the Rockets, which is a little scary. And loss to the Celtics, which, nothing embarrassing there. Ja's been hooping. Ja's an MVP candidate. I don't think any of us saw that coming. Not this early, at least. He has looked spectacular over the season. I don't even want to qualify it. He's looked great over the season. Memphis is going to be without Dillon Brooks. The Knicks don't have Quentin Grimes. Cam Reddish is done for the year. They don't have Nerlens Noel, who has seen his minutes drop, and they don't have Obi Toppin. All that means is you got to play JR a little bit more, and Randall has responded. We're showing a 69% chance of Memphis covering this line. Grizz minus 455 at Bovada. Is 4 in a row too much to ask from the Knicks? Can they keep it close? 9.5. I feel like if we were at a different point, if this was the first game we talked about, and we were looking to build up our number, I feel like this minus 9.5 it's tempting. But we don't need that right now. We're 6 picks in. After this one, we're going to be a plus 1,000. We're going to be 10-1 odds. Even with the minus 455 Memphis money line, which, by the way, we're just taking. We are, forget about plus 1,000. We're plus 1178. You see it right there, right hand of the screen. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Twitch live right now, thank you for watching. Appreciate each and every one of you. Please come back. Please subscribe, like, follow on Twitter, do all that cool stuff. You are appreciated. Our last main game we're going to talk about. Like I said, I don't like this Jazz Spurs game. Anytime I got to go against Pop, it's not something I'm comfortable with. Let's talk about the Raptors and the Suns. We're showing about a 63% chance that the Suns are going to win this one outright. Yeah, all right. The Raptors are 35-30, third place in the Atlantic Division, 5 back of first place Philly. Won 2 of their last 5, 3 of their last 6, 3 of their last 8, and I guess 4 of their last 10. If they're fading, they did beat the Spurs, which I was just talking about the concern about picking against the Spurs, but I don't feel good about this Raptors team. I don't think this Raptors team feels good about this Raptors team. The Suns, on the other hand, 53-13, best record in basketball, obviously first place in the Pacific Division, 8.5 up over the second place Golden State Warriors. Playing great. Won 4 of their last 5. They have a loss to the Bucks in there. Their only L, 132-122 defeat at the hands of the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. Not gonna lose any sleep about that one if I'm the Suns. Maybe I lose some sleep about it if that's a NBA Finals matchup, which is feasible. But right now, in March, que sera, sera. We are showing a pretty much split down the line game here. 50% that Phoenix covers, 50% that Toronto covers. So that is absolutely no help. When we look at secondary stuff, the Raptors are 15-14-1 as an underdog against with the spread. They are 12-10-1 as an away dog. The Suns are 30-20-27 as a favorite against the spread, and they are 16 sub 500 as a home favorite. I I thought that I felt good about this game. Now I don't know. Now I think maybe we're going to move on, because the last thing in the world you want at this point, we feel pretty good about these 7 we've put up already. Feel good about them. I don't want to lose it here. I don't want Pascal Siakam to randomly hit 5 threes, go 5 of 7 from 3 with 12 rebounds. He hangs 30 on the Suns, and they get the win. I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about this Wizards-Lakers game. Like I said, the Wiz are fun. They're playing with no pressure, and the Lakers have the weight of the world on their shoulders right now, especially LeBron. GM LeBron, who put this team together, who says, we don't care about draft picks. Well, guess what? Draft picks are pretty important to assembling a roster and maintaining roster flexibility. But I'm not here to teach LeBron about basketball. I'm not that naive. Let's move to college basketball, because there is a game I like here. We're gonna scroll down a little bit. A couple of these odds have changed. The Timberwolves odds changed, which let's just go back and correct that right now, because we want this money line hitting. We had, all right, we'll take it. The Timberwolves odds there against the spread went from -115 to -105. So that's actually going to help us. This is a disaster right now. If you're looking at the cards, not 100% sure what we're going on, but we'll throw it back together at the end is what we're going to do. Let's go to college basketball. Like I said, and the game that was screaming to me when I was looking at this earlier, we're going to find it. Watch. You're here watching us scroll. By the way, I'd love a prop on who the first player to sign is going to be now that Major League Baseball strike is over, but you know how that goes. I'm looking, and you're looking with me, for this Texas A&M Auburn game, which has started already. So let's ignore that one. Everything's falling apart here. Everything's falling apart at the end of the show. Didn't see that was a 12 o'clock start, but it was. So, we move on. That's all good. Que sera, sera. We only need one more for the card today. Houston, big favorites over Cincy, but I don't know what that's going to do for us. Maybe it's worth keeping an eye on. I think this Iowa-Rutgers game is going to be tighter than this, so I don't want to mess around with lower odds. Tennessee, Mississippi State. I want to hit a top 25 game. We don't want Akron, Toledo here. No offense to either of those teams. I was looking at this Michigan State, Wisconsin game earlier. They're within 2 games of each other wins wise. I think they're not even giving Michigan State enough credit here. That's what scares me off that. Duke over Miami, Florida. ACC action at Barclays. That's interesting. Let's take a look at that. We're showing about an 86% chance that Duke's going to win this one outright. I think that might be a little low. I love this Duke roster. I know this isn't like breaking news or anything, but I love this Duke roster. Duke 27-15, their first place in the ACC, a game up over North Carolina in the ACC, and they just got a bunch of pros, a bunch of guys who are going to be pros on this roster. Paolo is that top guy, but Wendell Moore Jr. has figured stuff out this year. Wendell Moore Jr. kind of reminds me of Josh Hart a little bit when he was at Villanova. And that's really high praise as a Villanova guy. Trevor Keels really came out of nowhere and has turned into an NBA prospect in his own right. Really, really good basketball player. The three-point shot has fallen off over the past couple of weeks, down to 33.8%. But really good basketball player, really good player in the ACC. A guy who's going to have a chance to do some things if he stays in school. Mark Williams is being looked at as a potential draft pick this year. AJ Griffin has emerged as, a potential top 5 pick now that he's healthy. And by the way, AJ Griffin, I don't think anybody expected this. AJ Griffin is shooting 43%. Sorry, he's shooting 47% from 3 this season. Didn't think AJ Griffin had 47% from 3 this season. He's 58 of 121 on the year. If that shooting is legitimate, like we didn't mention him earlier on that when we were talking about the Hornets winning the draft lottery, or pardon me, I think another team winning the draft lottery, Magic maybe, Cavs, but AJ Griffin, he's got a pro body at 6'6", 222. He is creating for himself. The handle's not great. This isn't an NBA draft show, so won't go into too much of a diatribe. Plus, we're running the risk of going long here. But AJ Griffin he's a flat out stud, is what I'm getting at. And this Duke team has at least 5 future pros on it right now. The Miami Hurricanes team does not. No disrespect to them. They've won 3 of their last 5. They're 23-9, 4th place in the ACC, and having a good season. 14-6 in conference, which is very, very respectable for this Miami team. Cam McGusty is probably their best player. Charlie Moore averages 4.4 assists per game, but I think McGusty's probably their best player. We're going to show, let's see where it is here. We'll bring this up. We're showing about a 71% chance that Miami's going to cover that spread. Oh boy, right? Oh boy, ACC tournament action. Duke's not going out in the first round. That's what I'm saying here. Duke's not going out in the first round. We'll take that plus 455 right here, and we are going to, I think that plays. All right. So that is our 8. The issue is, as I mentioned, and as you've seen, when those odds change, as you know, things get a little bit funky. So we're going to have to reestablish that. We're going to have to reestablish all of that. I'm going to have to do that in another screen as I keep talking about it. We're going to have, let's see, going to have to log out on the other one so that we can get the line here. Our picks for the day, I think we can take all of these off and we're going to be all right. Let's just see if we take Duke off. If they go away, they do not. So it's all right. We want to see where we are because I feel like we're at plus 13. So our picks, our one college basketball at this point is the Duke game. I think we might have gone too far on that. This is the Watch Us Scroll episode of In Pursuit of a Parlay. Here you go, Duke minus 455. Going up to the NBA, we're going to be able to add this much quicker than that. NBA, we've got the Grizz at minus 455. We've got the Heat at minus 300. We've got the Hornets minus 145. We've got the Clippers money line minus 110 at Bovada. We've got the Celtics minus 1,400. And we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves minus 105. So yeah, our 7-pick parlay, not sure what we're missing here. We stayed away from that. 1, 2, they must, it's the Timberwolves. No, the Timberwolves game is still there. One of the games we talked about earlier have been taken off the card right now. We've got the Heat, we've got the Mavs. No, it looks like the Mavericks game was taken off the card. So there must be an injury question mark somewhere. Which means we need to find another college basketball game. We're gonna add some sure things at this point. We're gonna take some sure thing money lines. We're gonna scroll and see what we're comfortable with. Like to stay away from the smaller games, although Dayton does feel like a lock to win outright over Massachusetts. SMU Tulsa, again, I think Tulsa probably covers this. Kentucky, here you go. Kentucky Vanderbilt. We'll take that. We'll take that Kentucky money line minus 625 as our official 8th pick. That's going to take us to plus 1453. And let's see if we can just tack on a little bit more. If there's anything that feels right, we'll take the minus 605 as a Purdue lock win over Penn State. These are just bonus college picks. We'll take. I think that's going to be it. We don't want to dabble in EuroLeague action. Anadolu Efes in for a tough matchup against AS Monaco a little bit later on. So we've got our core 6. When we include Kentucky, we're going to take the one pick bonus game, Purdue over Penn State. And our final line for the day, plus 1709. 17-1 odds. $100 wins $1,700. And so on and so on. But I feel really good about this one. We're going to place this bet as soon as we get the opportunity to. This episode has already gone long, so we're going to stay away from that. Sorry that I now see we should have changed the line on the other side, but you'll have to trust me that this 7-game money line right here is in fact a plus 1709 if you place that right now. With the picks that we have made. So again, this has gone long. Thank you guys all so much for checking out the show, for supporting the show. Please continue to do it. Please like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever platform. Just do it all. Engage. Hit me up on social media at Chris Horwedel, at CHRISHORWEDEL. You see that right at the bottom of the screen. You no longer see that at the bottom of the screen. Don't ask me why. I'll make this a little bit smaller. We just got a bunch of stuff open. There you go. You again see that at the bottom of the screen. Interesting what the windows were doing there, but whatever. So follow me, follow Underdog, and come back next week. Thank you so much for everything. Like, share, subscribe, rate, review, do it all. For another episode of In Pursuit of a Parlay, I have been Chris Horwedel. You have been spectacular, and I'll see you next time.